recurrence. The title of our talk is Bridging Neural Dynamics and Behavior. We are constructing a hybrid model of attention-driven visual perception. The main goal of our study is to understand computations leading to perception, and the key question is how does attention support flexible and resilient object recognition? For instance, how to cross this crossroad, which is awful if you look at scene. The problem is we need to consider both neuronal mechanisms in visual cortex and perception at higher cortical areas. And we propose an approach to construct a hybrid model with biophysical part and a simple linear readout of perceptron. We are collaborating with experimentalists who are doing experiments in monkeys, and particularly they are presenting visual stimuli, morphing shapes. Monkey is trained to pay attention to one of the shapes, and the task for monkey is to press the button when shape repeats. Our experimentalists, they are preparing recordings in visual cortex in area V1, 2 multi-electrodes, and in V4. And we want to have model which produce behavior and as if recordings. We know that that activity in V1 correlates more with activity, more with attended stimulus, and in this sense ignores unattended stimulus. And it is because of attentional modulation coming from higher areas of the brain. So we want model which can operate explicitly on visual stimuli, recognize repeated morphing shapes, generates signals like recorded, be expressed in physiological variables, account for transients, show broader receptive fields for V4 neurons, and would allow testing physiological mechanisms under constraint of recognition. As I said, our solution is hybrid model, so it consists of a visual processor which produces recordings and classifier. It produces perception, behavioral response. So we are considering 2 tasks. The second one is the task for monkeys I have described, and monkey says that shape repeats. Monkey press button. And we want the same in the model. The first task is it also can be solved by monkey, we believe, but we don't have such kind of experiments. We apply stimuli consisted of 4 digits and few dots. One of the dots is moving. So it is moving, so we are presenting 2 frames where one dot is shifted. And in this task, we want to classify digit closest to the moving dot. Our visual processor, it describes in more or less in biophysical details what is happening in V1 and V4 areas. V1 primary visual area and V4 which processes shapes already. Visual fields of activity, they determine attention, map of attention, and after some reduction, we pass the activity fields to classifier. Important is that we keep this narrow bottleneck. So we pass to classifier just a limited information. So it is about 100 real values. It is important to provide sensitivity of recognition to biophysical details. In more details, our stimulus is processed with oriented kernels projected to V1. In V1, activity of excitatory and inhibitory populations is distributed in cortical space, X, Y, and in orientation space, theta. Activity is dynamic in time, but we track only maximum of firing rate and steady state firing rate further to pass to pooling and finally to classifier. So finally classifier votes for one of the digits. I'll show first main results and then I'll pass to details of biophysical model and then a bit of analysis. So as I said, we present the stimulus to frames, and as a result, we get this vote. So this is that bar corresponds to digit 3, which is here. It is close to a moving dot, and it is recognized now. So in V1, we can visualize activity, firing rate of excitatory neurons. And as I said, we track maximum of this activity, peak activity, and steady state. So at dash line, we change the frames. So movement is detected after the onset of second frame. And the difference between V1 peak and steady state determines finally attention map, one of the quadrant. And in this quadrant, we recognize digit. This digit is a bit blurred, and that is because of the constraint that the V4 receptive fields are rather wide. So final accuracy of the model is 55, so it is quite enough to be sensitive and quite enough to recognize. In the second task, we do training. We train the model to recognize digits. In the second task, we do not do training. We use the model already trained with digits. And we use digits as alphabet to recognize shapes, because shapes, in some sense, are similar to digits. So we present stimuli similar to what we have in experiments. We obtain classification histogram. We remember the initial classification histogram for the attended part of this stimulus, and then we wait for the repetition of this histogram. So our model behaves like is shown in this animation. So what we have here, this is the stimuli on the screen, then stimuli projected to V1 according to tenotopic projection, and then that is attention field in V1, in V4, projection to V4, and it is already blurred, and that is activity in V4. In this quadrant, the activity is used to construct classification histogram, and when it repeats, histogram becomes red. It means that shape repeats. So this is the sequence of shapes, and this shape number 4, it repeats, and at that time model writes wow. And yes, important that we have some traces, and we can further compare these traces with experimental traces. So we have we have now a model which operates explicitly on visual stimuli, recognizes repeated morphing shapes, generates signals. Let me describe a biophysical part, starting from a single node, then passing through a ring, and to layers, continuous in V1 and V4. So our node is a microscopic model of the node is composed of stochastic linear integrated fine neurons, all-to-all connected, and excitatory and inhibitory with excitatory and inhibitory synapses, second order synaptic kinetics, and some distribution of time scales. It is tuned to realistically reconstruct peak characteristic for different responses to sudden excitation. So we usually see some peak, and it is rather long-lasting peak. Then, instead of microscopic model, we construct macroscopic model, so rate model, but it is not neural mass, but to take into account unbalanced states. It is based on so-called conductance-based refractory density approach, which approximates rates for arbitrary input current and input conductance quite well. So rate model substitutes microscopic model. Then we extended to the ring, orientation ring, and I introduce connections, rather narrow-tuned excitation and broad inhibition, and then we map this model to classical canonical ring model. Work by Benishai, Hansel, Sampolinsky. So the results repeat in our model and in these, and we know the mapping expressions for the parameters, and the analysis available for this model let us navigate parameters in parameter space. It is particularly important to find a bump attractor because we believe that attractor properties may enhance attentional modulation. Then we extend model to cortical space in introducing kernels for evolutions in space. And we introduce attention, assuming that attention is it depends on spatial coordinates, and it strengthens excitatory connections on excitatory and inhibitory populations. Important is that we keep the projections from V1 to V4 orientation tuned. So these projections are diverse, and but orientation tuned to keep information extracted by V1 area. These are schematic of projections more or less consistent with experiments. And we also apply orientation-dependent pooling of complex numbers to pass to higher areas, to classifier. Complex numbers means that we keep absolute value of firing rate and orientation. So we have a model which is expressed in physiological variables and accounts for transients. Some slides with analysis. We reconstruct receptive fields, knowing from experiments that receptive fields in V4 are larger than in V1. And we reconstruct them by applying stimuli like in experiments, so moving bars, moving at different orientations, at different directions. And we see, so this is the receptive field in V1, this is the receptive field in V4, which is much larger. It is much larger, and because of that, we see a kind of blurring. That is the representation of number 3. It would not be blurred if we would apply one-to-one projection, like in this case, but the receptive field would be small. If we also disturb the tuning, orientation tuning of these projections, then we keep the size of receptive field, but we lose the accuracy. Another analysis of the model is a comparison with data available from our experimentalists. So they did experiments in previous session where they recorded steady state firing rates in V1 in response to steady state shapes of different contrast and with different conditions regarding attention. So visually we can compare the shapes of these 14 bars in experiments for 2 monkeys with what we get from the model, and more or less they are qualitatively consistent. So we show a broader receptive fields for neurons, and we allow testing physiological mechanisms under the constraints of recognition. Conclusions. Our hybrid model links cortical dynamics, attentional modulation, and behavioral recognition with one interpretable framework. The model evaluates concrete physiological mechanisms underlying the observed neural dynamics. Behavior provides a strong constraint on cortical mechanism. Further, we will try to open to answer open questions. What are explicit contribution of PV and some expressing neurons? In what extent bump attractor help to attention? What is the role of gamma activity? Does gamma help or prevent perception? And what is the role of transients in perception? Thank you for your attention.